Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel, scattered but not destroyed, or dispersed but not destroyed. We want to welcome you to another Shabbat Day class here at the Awakening Remnant Coalition, Dallas, also known as the RDFW. We have been going over for the last few weeks the book of Exodus. We will be starting in chapter 9 of the book this week. I hope that everyone has enjoyed themselves thus far in the teaching, that you've learned a lot, and that you've been keeping up with us. If you have not had an opportunity to subscribe to this YouTube channel, also click the bell notifications so that you'll be alarmed or notified next time we have a class. Right now, I'm waiting on Brother Joe Brother Yosef to come into the chat. But until he does, I just want to talk to everybody and give them a brief summary or synopsis of what is going on in the book of Exodus. The book of Exodus is basically the story of Israel becoming a nation, led out of bondage or slavery, which they were placed in by Yah's prophet Moshe. As Moshe begins to gain a relationship with the Most High, he is given a mission or a task to carry out. But this thing is a little bit more than what we would think. And the story of Exodus is a rich story in itself. But if you look at what is going on, and if you know the backstory behind the Egyptians had a pantheon of gods that they served, that they worshiped. And even the Pharaoh himself was considered to be a god in the natural form, and that when he would die or pass on, he would return to the celestials and still reign as a king or as a god in the heavens. But Yah is showing himself in this very situation by Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom. Yah is showing himself in this very situation by changing the thought process. And this was very important because under the years of servitude and being in the land of Mizraim, the Hebrews or the Israelites began to take up the habits of their host, and they began to worship other Elohims. This is very important to let people know, because even in our condition and our situation right now, we as Hebrews have over time taken on other Elohims. We have bowed ourselves down to wood, gods of wood and gods of stone. And Yah himself had to show his power, to show the people that these inanimate objects, these inanimate figures, these mythological deities that they worshiped had no true power. And the only true El on the earth was Elohim or Yahuwah. So in doing this, he not only toppled the infrastructure, the financial structure, but he also had to destroy the spiritual structure of the Egyptians so that the Hebrews could see who their Elohim truly was. Shortly, I will bring Brother Malak in. Brother Malak, will you reach out to Brother Yosef real quick and get him to come and join the chat? Um, we have to understand in our natural form or in this body where we exist in this plane that Yah has shown and proven himself over and over and over and over to us again and again. And by giving other gods credit for the work of Yah is blasphemy in itself. When you look at that image of Caesar Borgia and you begin to understand what you are truly doing, you will realize that you are giving the authority of your Elohim over to an image. And in this, Yah had to break this whole system down so that his people could see that not only are they worshiping falsely, but that their Elohim is not visible, but he is still all powerful. You don't need something drawn to show who you worship or who you follow. You just have to believe in him and know that you belong to him and that it is by his hand that you were created. It is by his hand that you became his and his alone. So as we look at the situation in the story, we begin to realize that, as me especially, as I grew up and began to notice what was going on in the situation, is that Yah is tearing down a thought process. He is causing the children of Israel to have a paradigm shift because you can't be in his protection if you are following things outside of his will. And this is one of the things that we as a people mentally need to break this stigma, this ongoing trail of deceit from before the Father, that we do not give him the credit. And we as a people have turned to other Elohims, other gods, and have given them power and will praise them and defend them with everything that we have while turning our back on our true Savior. And Hasatan is very cunning in what he has done because he has allowed the system to brainwash us and to make us fall into these traps that would have us believe that what we are doing is right. It's kind of like when I was a kid, I did something and I felt like it was right, and my father judged me on it and beat my tail for it, and I was mad because I swore I was right. See, Yah doesn't give you any room to mistake right from wrong. See, this is the thing about worshiping a true Elohim. When our Yah gave us the book, when he gave us the manuscript, he wrote down exactly what he expected from us and by us. And by doing that, there could be no mistake. See, that's what a true Elohim does. He does not leave any stone unturned to keep you on the right path. These other gods, their principles are very vague. And this is how you know. What was one of the things that I used to say all the time when I was in the church was that once saved, always saved. I had this once saved, always saved mentality that, regardless of what the situation says, that I'm saved and I can make mistakes, and and I was all right. But that's not what Scripture says. When we make mistakes, there's a way to atone for them, and there is a way to correct that which we have done, which is wrong. Straight up. Shabbat shalom, I keep.
Shabbat shalom.
Being in this situation, we have come to find out, and I've begun to realize that everything that I used to do in the past that was vague was not of Yah. And I brought Brother Yosef in here so we could have a narrative before we go into the book. But the vagueness of Christianity is this: if you have done away with the law and all you have to do is go by faith, and do you have faith in? This is the question. Because by having faith and not having anything to base your faith on, you can't base your faith on an image. There has to be some principles. And the trap of Christianity has been this: where are the principles? Where are your principles? Because if you don't have law, then you don't have principles, correct? So by not having law, for what it's worth, because you look at the writings of Paul, and Paul breaks down the fruits of the Spirit. He breaks them down, but each one of those fruits are given by being obedient to Yah's law. And so the Egyptians lived on a faith-based system that had no rules. We had a God for harvest. They had a God for harvest. They had a God for insects. They had a God for the sun. They had a God for the wind. They had a God for the seasons. But what we have as a people is an Elohim and all of his principles. And all of his principles are written down conveniently in the book. So without his principles, you don't know exactly what our Elohim would truly want from you. Everything would be speculation. And this is how Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Tony Evans, and all of Creflo Dollar, Joyce Meyer, and all these other televangelists can go on the TV and give you principles that some don't even have foundation in scripture, and you fall for them. So in this book, Yahuwah has shown himself and has given Moshe authority, not just over the children of Israel, but over the people of Egypt. And we just covered last week that he told Moshe that he was going to make him a god over Pharaoh and make Aaron his prophet, which means his messenger or his mouthpiece. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to go into chapter 9, I want everybody to pay very close attention to what's going on in this and understand what the judgments of Yah really are. These judgments are to clean out the basket or the storehouse of those who have offended him. And listen very close, because these offenses were not just if we weren't obedient to his word, these would turn on us as well. And so I'm really looking forward, because I really have been reading really hard this week on chapters 20 through 31. I have really been in them in depth, and I'm so looking forward to when we get there, so that we can see how he gave us the commandments. But then after he gave the commandments, so that Israel wouldn't have any issues, then he showed them how they should conduct themselves, not only as lay people, but how the priests should conduct themselves, how the tabernacle should be built. All these things so that we would not have any question on how to follow our Elohim. Um, brother Yosef, you have anything you want to add?
No, just hold on, hold on. I was getting a little feedback there. I think we made it all the way through to chapter 11 last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, I'm getting old. We can start at 11. We can start at 11. What's up, brother Malak? Back
Shalom.
in. I see you back from off the road, looking good.
Yeah, actually, man, and I'm gonna break it down to you, man. I kind of talked to, I would say Salakia, man. I wanted to reach out to you in the middle of the week. I was just kind of like got busy with some stuff, and then I talked to brother Joseph. But yeah, man, it's been a challenging week for me, man. I kind of been at the house, man, looking at some stuff. But it's good to be home. I tell you that, though. It's good to be on the 4th of Shabbat. To see you brothers, man, and get down to this book.
Hallelujah. Hey, I want to tell everybody, if you're watching and you're in the DFW area, our governor, Greg Abbott, has started to pull back, has started to re-implement some of the restrictions for this COVID-19 pandemic. And I wanted to make this very clear to the people. Be safe. Trust in y'all, but use your common sense, because you get out here and you get this mess, man. And I work at the hospital, so you already know my stance on it. I be telling folks, hey, when they come up to my desk asking for something, hold on to that paper. I don't know where your hands been. I sound like them old folks, man. I don't know where your hands been, partner. You can go ahead and put that down. You can talk to me. Matter of fact, take 3 steps away from this wall that's up here, and then begin to talk to me, because I don't want none of what you got.
Yeah.
I know that y'all will provide, or will protect us, but shoot, he also gave us common sense. And some people don't have common sense, so you need to remind them of where they at, because I done heard some of them jokers coming to the hospital, man, this week. I was laughing so hard on Tuesday. I walked in there, this joker was bigger than me, in a wheelchair, one of his legs cut off clean up to the knee, his foot and his other foot cut in half, wrapped up in bandages, and he talking about, I ain't wearing no dang mask. I'm like, you a prime candidate to catch this old fool. And you run around here talking about what you is and ain't gonna do. Boy, if you don't get your big infested, man, I was so, and it be them, man. It truly, it be them. Boy, I'm telling you, our president got these folks' head pumped up to the point to where they have completely and totally did the fool. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. I be so tickled, man. I hate. I don't really want to talk about my job, but I'm trying to show people, man. This dude got these folks' heads so pumped up, man, that they have just let caution to the wind.
Yeah.
And like I was telling our people, man, look, if you're gonna go out there and protest, that's fine. Wear a mask, put some goggles on. Cause that's in the plan for them. I know a bunch of us Hebrews, man, we in the house.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? A bunch of us Hebrews, look, on
Yeah,
God with soul power, but we in the house.
yeah, yeah.
And, well, I can understand why now they ain't gonna be but a remnant because everybody else too stupid to follow instructions.
You know, it's a double jeopardy, man, for a lot of this stuff, man. Because the thing about it is, uh, the system has not only manipulated us from the standpoint of mentally, but even the stuff that we consumed in our diets, man. You know,
Hmm.
we have a lifestyle, man, that we have to pick and choose from stuff that don't give us nutritional value. Man, fast food, junk food. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the main things. We don't have a healthy immune system. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So um, they're gonna die in one way. They're gonna die from a bad diet. They're gonna die from COVID.
Boy,
You
man,
know.
and I done got to the point, man, to where now, for at least 3 to 4 days out of the week, man, I only eat one meal a day, and that's in my house.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, during the week while I'm at work, I go in, I bring water with me from the house,
Hmm.
and I'm not messing with nothing they got,
Yeah.
you know, because you don't know who got this mess, man.
No, you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Running around here, boy, before you know it, I can't breathe. I'm too big to not breathe.
And,
You,
and, and the
you
thing about
understand?
and the thing about it, Ak, is again, like you said, you know, um, what you're going through right now in Exodus is the Father showing how He dealt with our oppressors.
Hmm.
Oh shoot,
Yeah, by dealing
my
with by
bad.
yeah by
Go
dealing with
ahead.
this kind of situation. So we have pestilence, man, and we also in a pandemic, but not I mean not a but we're in a famine. We're in a famine as well, man, because we think because the food we're eating, man, the food that we're eating, man, is genetically modified. So again, we have to get back to the book. The book is the key. We have to get back to Yah. We have to get back to agriculture. We have to get back to, you know what I'm saying, letting the Most High, His word go forward, not only in our words but our lifestyle. You know, the way we live.
That's
So
a fact, man. That is a fact, and it's so hard for people to do because
mhm,
they are so attracted to
that's
what
right.
does not give them any relief.
That's
And
right. That's right.
oh man, something's wrong with my dang setup. I rubbed something the wrong way and it's showing me. Hold on now. All right. I told y'all I rubbed something the wrong way, man. I did a reverse Johnny Gill. I didn't rub it the right way and it just ooh he got messing up. Go ahead and finish your point though, Malak.
No. I'll finish out. You know, like I said, it's going into Exodus, man, is actually is it should bring us back to what our ancestors did, because we're going through the same thing today. We're dealing with pestilence. We're dealing with famine. You know what I'm saying? We're dealing with captivity. You know,
Hmm.
we're trying to address our grievances to the Most High. So again, it's very fitting to go to Exodus at this time, because we are in With our ancestors called the last days, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. It's right on time.
Well, I was thinking earlier this week. I hear how the people want to negotiate with the government and try to get all these different laws placed on the book about policing and other things, and they ain't asking for the right stuff. And
That's right.
that's a habit that we as a people get into. We don't ask for the right things. And
Mhm.
and so in the Exodus story, it's going to show you exactly what you need to ask for.
Mhm.
And coming into chapter 11, coming into
Mhm.
chapter 11, you're about to see exactly what Yah will do
Mhm.
on your behalf if you not only ask for the right things, but ask the right person. You can't go to your captor and ask for ease. That ain't what the
No,
captor does. The captor is there to put burden on you,
exactly.
and Yah, Yah tickles me so much because Yah is like giving you the blueprint on how to get up out of this. And me,
Exactly.
Mhm.
it done gave us the blueprint on how to get up out of this foolishness. And what we have done, or what we have done is gotten so attached to this system that we have totally discounted the power of Yah. And so we try to stand in his path and do it for him. And
Yes.
so this is how people end up dying because they won't get out of the way to let y'all work.
That's right. That's right.
So
That's right.
let's go ahead and get started in the chapter 11. I'm gonna blank off the screen for a little bit, actually, because I got to go get some water because I am thirsty and I forgot to bring some. So I'm gonna let Brother Joe get ready to start reading. I'm gonna interrupt you, like I always do, when I'm ready to make a point. So I'm gonna give you the screen.
Okay, shalom, family. Exodus chapter 11, verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterwards he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And Yahuwah gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of the people. And Moses said, Thus says Yahuwah, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn of the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon the throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall there be like it any more. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that Yahuwah doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. And all these thy servants shall come down unto me, and bow down themselves unto me, saying, Be out, and all the people that follow thee. And after that I will go out. And he went from Pharaoh in a great anger. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. And the Lord and Yahuwah hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go out of his land. That's
Okay,
chapter
hold
11.
on. Okay. So in the beginning of chapter 11, Yah is talking to Moshe, and he's like, "Look, yo, I'm about to put this final judgment on Pharaoh. He's about to be the end all of end alls, and by doing this, he's going to basically drive you out of the land. And I want you to go to your neighbors and borrow." Now, that that word was misinterpreted in English. Um, they use the word borrow or to ask, but the context is kind of taken wrong. When they're talking about borrowing or asking for something in this manner, it's kind of like saying, "Give it to me." You're demanding it. You're not saying, "Oh, please, can I have some gold?" You know, the King James, I think one of them says to borrow, and then in another version it says to ask for. But he basically means to go with force and say, "Give me what you owe me." And so this is where this is where the disconnect in the English translation comes. We didn't just ask them to give us anything; we demanded. We went in there and demanded what we wanted from them, and so then they were compelled to give it over to us. And see, this is the problem. We ask for too much. You know, we ask, "Oh, we want to be equal to you." They're never going to see you as equal. So what you got to do is what you want, you need to take. You need to demand. You know, take it by force. But it's got to be done. This is why they trip out when people riot. Don't you understand that this country was built off of a riot? The Boston Tea Party was nothing more than a riot. And they tore up all of England's what do you call it? Not their imports. You know, you can't affect somebody unless you hit them in their pocket. And this is what Yah has done from when he started his judgments. He started hitting them in their pocketbook. Where do you think they're getting food from if all the food is destroyed? They can only get it from their neighbors, which means they got to clean out their coffers. The same way we went into Egypt during that drought at the end of Exodus, I mean at the end of Genesis, is the same way that the Egyptians now are gonna have to beg for food from other folks because Yah has torn up every crop, killed all their animals. Well, you know, all those that weren't put up in the house, then basically destroyed their infrastructure for the most part, have ripped, raped, and brutalized their gods. He has put hands on their gods. So in their mind, they all warped. How you gonna go and ask for somebody that's trembling and scared? Please give me. No, you go in with force. Give me your gold, your silver, and your things of value. This is what we need to learn and stop being so punkish. Ask for what you want. No, ask. Give me that which is mine. You want reparations. Hell, they ain't gonna give you reparations because first of all, you ain't asked. Demand it.
That's right. Even the book of Matthew said we're going to take the kingdom by force.
Can you find that? Can you find that?
We say that?
Can you find that for me?
Okay. Let me look for it right fast. Brother Joseph, read Matthew chapter 11. And start off 11:11. 11:11.
Matthew 11 and 11. 11 and 11. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there had not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist unto now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent taketh it by force.
Go ahead. Keep going.
For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you will receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Keep going.
Go ahead and read the next verse. Yes.
That's 16.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes. Yes.
But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is likened to children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows and saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have danced. We have mourned unto you, and you have not lamented. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he hath the devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a man gluttonous, a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children.
That's fine. That's fine right there. Okay. So what Hamashiach is talking about, all his prophecies are due. They're due. When he talks prophetically, he wasn't just talking about his generation. He's talking about the next generation. Because go back and read, and I'm gonna break it down. Go back and read verse 11 again. Start off at verse 11.
Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, hath there not risen a greater than John the Baptist? Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he.
So going right there, John the Baptist at the time was the greatest prophet that lived. So when Yeshua HaMashiach is saying the least of us are going to even be greater than him in that generation. That's the generation to come. Talking about us. Go ahead.
And from the days of John the Baptist unto now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
Stop right there. The kingdom of heaven is due. It's not talking about the Shamaim. It's talking about us. It's talking about here. We were taken by force. It was taken by force. And how are we going to get it back? We're going to get it back by force. We can go back to, let's go back to Daniel. Now let's go to Daniel right fast. Let's go to Daniel. Let's go to the book of Daniel. And let's go to chapter 7 now. Book of Daniel, chapter 7. Let me get that right fast. Salakia. Okay. Chapter 7. And just start off at 16 now.
16?
Yeah, start off at 16, yes.
Daniel 7 and 16, I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. The great beasts which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. But of the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. And
there you go.
Possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
There you go. There you go. See, so the saints of the Most High is going to take the kingdom and forever, because that fourth beast we know the fourth beast is an eagle. So I'm saying, and that beast is America in a Eurocentric concept, that Eurocentric system. The European nations. So we're going to take the kingdom by force. Just like they took us by force, we're going to take them by force.
And so when you read in Revelations, when it talks about he that led into captivity shall be led into captivity. And those who killed by the sword shall also be killed by the sword. He's showing that those who have been the tail are now
Yes,
about to be the head,
that's right.
and those that were last will be first. If
Mhm.
you look at every country in the world, his people have always been last.
That's right. That's right.
They have been the mistreated. They have been the bywords. They have been the social,
Mhm. Mhm.
the social misfits, the
That's right.
overlooked, the underserved.
That's
Um,
right.
and so in this, we know that when his return comes, that
Mm-hmm.
he is about to, what did I say that word was? Debar,
That's right.
reorder.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not debar as in the word, but to reorder that which has been taken out of order.
Mhm.
That's
Because
right.
the order is him,
That's right.
his son,
That's
his
right.
people, and then
That's right.
everybody else.
That's right.
So now it's flipped
Mm-hmm.
because now it's Hasatan, his son, the world, us,
That's right.
Yeshua, and then Yah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so he's got to flip it back over on its head because it has been driven out of order.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why they buy guns,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
they doing all this stuff because they know that the day is coming
Mhm.
where their
Mm-hmm.
end of rulership is near. And they losing their mind because they understand that in the whole world, they are the minority.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
See, the children of Israel, if you look at the 12 tribes and then you look at the strangers,
Mhm.
we gonna outnumber them
Mm-hmm.
because after the death of those who do not follow the Most High, those that survive the turmoil and His second coming,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to have to reap a judgment,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're to serve those
Mm-hmm.
who serve them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when we look at this last plague that the Most High is bringing in, He is introducing the wrath of the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
what people don't understand, Yeshua ain't in the book. Yeah, Yeshua about to show up again. He about to show up in his function. They
Mhm.
talking
Mm-hmm.
about it's the angel of death. No, it's the angel of recompense.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
The death angel is coming to cast its final judgment on Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Hamashiach is going to do when he comes back and reaps havoc on this earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We in chapter 10, I think chapter 12.
Yeah, we stopped we're at chapter 12 right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Exodus chapter 12. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take unto them a man, every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall you make your count for the lamb. Your lamb
Hold on.
shall be.
Hold on. Malak,
Yes, sir.
find find that find that in Revelations where it talks about the Lamb of God coming to dressed up in the white. I think it's in chapter 11 or 12. Um, let me stop you right here, Joe. The representation of the Passover is the representation of the Lamb of God being sacrificed for our atonement. That's why the Passover came. It was to sacrifice unto it was showing you the end day prophecy, that those who were under the blood of the Messiah would survive, and his judgment would pass over them. That's why the lamb had to be without blemish in the first year, because he was the son of the Most High. He was that lamb was a representation of the Son of the Most High, or of the Mashiach. And it had to be without spot or wrinkle, and it had to be devoured before the morn. Think about it. Before the evening was come, or done away with, or finished. Each man had to eat his portion, and then everything else had to be burnt up.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the Messiah when he was on that cross, or when he was hung by that tree. Everything had to take place at a certain amount of time, and had to be done with. And in that representation of him, he is showing that those who are now covered and protected by the blood of the Hamashiach, or the Hamashiach, that death will pass over them, and they will be able to leave free. But you got to follow the instruction.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I fear a lot about in our people, is that a lot of our people, because they don't keep the feast days, they don't read the story for what it's worth, won't be prepared. There'll be them 5 virgins that don't have no oil in their lamp. So when the bridegroom comes, they're going to be asking for oil. I ain't got no oil to give you. We done spent the last year, almost a little bit over a year now, on the Shabbats, teaching over the internet, trying to tell people who the Messiah is and when he's coming back. I ain't got no oil for you. I'm different. I'm not sharing. I done did all the sharing I'm gonna do. This is for real. It just got real. I put a post on one of my Facebook pages, and I said, what is one thing that Black people say to let you know when stuff's about to pop off? You know what I'm saying? Y'all's about to let people know it's about to pop off. This COVID-19, it's about to pop off. Did you find it? Did you find it?
Okay, so I have Revelation chapter 5.
Go ahead.
Let's start off at let's start off at verse 9. And they sung a new song, saying, "Thou art worthy to take the book." And let me start over with Lot. And they sung a new song, saying, "Thou art worthy to take the book and open the seals thereof. Thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to our God, to our Elohim, by the blood out of every kindred and every tongue and people and nation, and has made us to be kings, made us to our God, to our Elohim, to be kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. And I, behold, I heard a voice from many angels around about the throne, and the beast and the elders, and the number of them that were 10,000 times 10,000s and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, "Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive the power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing." That's what we're talking about.
There it is right there. That's it right there. So this lamb is that lamb.
That's right.
And so I go back to when y'all went out there and executed that poor lamb that time. Hey, Malak, you see Joe's face ain't changed one bit when I said that. Y'all went out there and killed that lamb that one time for Passover, and y'all like, no, we ain't.
No, hey man, that's an eye opener. That is an eye opener.
I wasn't even there. And the way y'all said it, it was like I was standing right next to you.
Hey, hey, brother Yosef will tell you one of the brothers tried to turn his head. I took him by his head and said, no, you need to watch this. I said, because this is what our Hamashiach done. He suffered and went through this here. We ain't doing this no more. Because that was the whole purpose, for our people to see that lamb suffering for our iniquity, so we fully can repent. You know what I'm saying? And understand that our lives, that lamb ain't do the sin. We did the sin. Yeah, that was powerful. I mean, hey, never know more. It puts a whole new perspective on this. People don't get that.
Yeah.
That lamb trying to bat and can't because you done slit his vocal cords and everything else, and blood just pumping out of his neck.
Mm-hmm.
People, man, let me tell you, bruh, when you know what tickled me is people don't get why those people sat at the foot of the cross and watched that. Why didn't Mary move? Why didn't John move? But they sat there and watched it because they had to see the process and understand what was going on. This is our lamb being sacrificed. And so Yah is like, okay, sacrifice this lamb because for your sins, because this is what I'm doing right now. I'm forgiving you of all your sins. Partake of the goodness. This is why you eat the lamb, to partake of it. But you have to have some bitter herbs in there to shock you into understanding. You can't enjoy the sacrifice too much. You understand what I'm saying? That bitterness will make you, oh, this is good, but but it's bitter to me.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got to take the blood, dip it in hyssop, and then paint your lintel with it. All of that, man, the preparation of an animal is work. And people talking about you can't work for your salvation.
Hey, brother Yosef, can you get Hebrews 9:22 for me? This because what you saying, brother Yemi, man, is so powerful, man. Man. Our people don't understand the depth of, like you say, them sitting at the foot of Yeshua HaMashiach while he being slaughtered. They understood. This is why prophetically they were like, oh no, this was not only the Lamb, but this was the Son of the living God, the living Elohim. He come to fulfill the scriptures, and we missed the time of our visitation. It got real. It was getting real to them. They're like, wow. It started making sense.
And all of those who understood, because there's still going to be people that sleep. All of them that understood, they couldn't leave the foot of the cross.
They couldn't.
Man, and look, they broke the legs of those other two so they could die. But he gave up the ghost. They done stabbed them. They done whooped them dang near to death.
But when you do with a lamb, you're not supposed to break his legs. You not.
And that was the difference. So the other three died for him either. The other two died for him. So let's break their bones. So you can see this one in the middle.
That's right.
This is the one I'm talking about. Not the other two jokers. Matter of fact, the one in the middle gonna save one of the lambs. You gonna let Barabbas go? You gonna let the Barabbas go? You know,
Mhm.
I'm tickled, man. I'm mesmerized by this, but I'm tickled in the same manner because to know what it is that he is doing in the Exodus story and comparing it to the New Testament story, how can you say that ain't of Yah?
Mhm.
Go ahead and read Hebrews, Aki.
Hebrews 9 and 26,
No, 22.
22. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without the shedding of blood is no remission.
There you go. There you go, right there. Without the shedding of blood, there's no remission. In other words, there's no sin can't be forgiven without the shedding of blood. Matter of fact, read verse 23. Read verse 23.
Okay, I just left there. Let me go back.
Slop.
Was that 9 and 23?
9 and 23.
Okay, I got a problem here. My Bible.
I got it out.
Yeah, go ahead and read it because my verse 23 is messed up in my book.
Yeah. It was therefore necessary that the patterns of things in the heavens should be purified with this, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifice than those. For Yeshua HaMashiach is not entered into the holy place made with hands, which are the figure of the truth, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of Elohim for us. So in his sacrifice, in his sacrifice, not only did his blood purge and purify us of our sins, but now he can go to the Most High, and he can go to the Most High and be an advocate for us.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
In a nutshell. So when
and,
you
and,
look
and,
at
and
when
go
you
ahead.
when you're looking at the Passover, you are seeing this played out.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And in going back to y'all's little situation, you saw the actual act carried out. Now I just heard the story and it shook me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it tickled me too because of the way y'all described it and the way y'all were acting. But to see it is to be a part of it. That's why those folks couldn't leave the cross. And this is why people's lives are being changed for the better by understanding what is going on when we take or partake the Passover. I was telling my mom the other week, I was like, Mama, why do you continue to take communion every month? I said, you're doing it wrong. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, listen, yes, the scripture says, as how often you do this, do it in remembrance of me. But he was talking about yearly. He wasn't talking about every month. He was talking about when the Passover came up. Every time you do the Passover, do it in remembrance of me. And she was like, oh, I never learned that. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you done been in church ever since 1945. And you don't understand this. And I remember when I was a kid, the pastor would tell me, you can't take the communion because you don't understand what you're doing it for. And now I realize, hell, I don't want to take it because y'all don't know why y'all doing it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ooh, now my blood done boiled. I done got hot. You sitting up there giving somebody a Passover and you thinking it's just the representation of the cross. No, it's a representation of the first Passover.
Right. That's right.
Matter of fact, if we break it down to the truth, it was the Passover that Adam and Eve had to have eaten.
Yes, that's right.
Boy, boy, don't make me scream up in here today. It had to have been a representation of the first thing slaughtered in the garden.
But check this out. I'm gonna go back to what you said a second ago when you mentioned about the parable of the 10 virgins. The parable of the 10 virgins. Not only is that lamp representing the light, but it is also representing that groom being the bride accepting the marriage of the groom, and they would have a feast. That feast is the Passover. So if these people are not celebrating the Passover, how can they? How do I know you? I don't even know you. You deny the Passover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't even get that. They don't even get that.
And even Paul, Saul said Christ is our Passover. He didn't
Yes.
say he was our communion. He said he was our Passover.
Come on now. Boy, y'all gonna make me shout in here today. We sitting up here talking about, man, we talking about all this foolishness. And I'm so mad because I'm running around here teaching that foolishness for years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, man, it's funny how y'all took me and said, don't study nothing but Genesis. And I'm like, how am I going to teach if I'll give you what to teach. And everybody that has ever sat up under me, even when I was in the Christian church, if they had any common sense, they'd always realize that all my messages took you back to Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
So then when all this stuff kicked off and he said, okay, you out of Genesis now. And I'm like, what? Now start reading Exodus. And I'm like tripped out to the point that I don't even want to teach. I done sat completely still and I'm waiting to hear from them. And y'all up there talking about, hey, where you at, man? When you gonna come and teach the people? Dude, this wait, man. Every time I think about that day that Yo set me up and told everybody at that meetup, oh yeah, in the next couple of weeks, everybody meet at Yemi'el's house. If I could choke him right now, I would. Because that weight, man, and y'all, I know you understand, but when that weight is on you and you understand the importance of getting it right, because in the church, it was get it or don't get it for me. But right now, it's like, I need you to understand how important this is. This ain't no joke. This ain't no game. Yeah, we all sin. Hell, I sinned all last week. I sinned all the week before then. We've all fallen short. We've all got our shortcomings. But our deliverance is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But see,
Hallelujah.
Exactly. The beauty of your experiences and Brother Joseph experiences, see, y'all know the mindset of mainstream religion. So this is the beauty. This is the beauty of it. Being that you have that experience, and now you know that in order to understand Revelation, in order to understand the so-called New Covenant, you have to go back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. So now your mother, when you told your mother, hey, yada, 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 she said, oh, I didn't notice. So now you can go to these people. And again, I was just telling Joseph the other day, me and him just had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
When our people stop listening, some of people want to take our credibility, but when you can go and rightfully divide the word of Yah, it don't matter what the naysayers say, because everybody's not going to hear. Only those that hear his voice. You are a shepherd, Ak. You have to go, and those that he sent to hear you speak his message, they're going to hear it. Those that don't hear it, you're not there to feel that oil. You're not there to feel that. You're not there for. They're not even invited to the wedding. This is what our people don't get. They're not even invited to the wedding. We have to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you get stuck, look, man, the one thing I've learned the most about this walk is if you get stuck on go, everybody gonna pass you by and you gonna still be sitting there stupid. You got to move, you got to work this thing. And faith, you know, I hate to go back to the old adage, faith without works is dead, but now I understand what it's talking about.
Exactly.
There are certain things in that book that you got to carry out, because if you don't carry them out, you're not showing that you believe.
Exactly.
Which means you did not hear. That's why when we were reading in Revelations a few minutes ago, and it said, let them who have an ear hear what is being said. He's basically saying, if you can't hear this, this ain't for you.
There you go. Exactly.
Hallelujah.
Exactly. Hallelujah. Exactly.
That's why when I talk to people and I put the word out there, I'm like, don't look at me.
Exactly.
Don't look at me. Because you're going to get lost if you look at me.
Brother Joseph just called me and say, man, you took a video off YouTube the other day. What you just said was what I had in the video. Did I not tell you that? Did I tell you that, Joseph? Would you? Our people don't look at me. Listen to the word. Exalt the Most High. I'm the one giving you the message. Stop looking at me. Stop looking at my past and what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? He can raise up any vessel and give them a message, but you're too busy looking at me. Look at the word.
Yeah, don't look at me, because if you look at me, you're going to be definitely wrong, because I'm fighting with this thing my damn self. Sorry. I'm sorry I did it, but, you know, I got to do it. You know, I'm fighting with this thing on a daily basis. Do you understand the wars that I battle with in my members?
We all do.
Trying to get ready to teach each Shabbat. You know, to the point to where y'all is like, you can't do it the way you used to do it. You know, I have to really spend my time meditating and studying and meditating and studying and going back to each word, each syllable, breaking it down, trying to figure out what it means. And, you know, a lot of times, man, like in the last couple of weeks, why I haven't spoken to y'all a bunch is because I come home and I'll have something in my head so heavy that I just got to sit on the game. Real talk. I just come in here and sit on the game. I'll be playing the game and thinking and trying to put all this stuff into context. Because when he's giving you stuff, what he is giving you, you're responsible for. And so when the word comes across that you need to break this lamb, you need to take this lamb and you need to do these steps and you need to do this thing perpetually, how do we let our people know that what they're doing is wrong by and not beat them across the head with it and give it to them that they'll receive it and work it? And you said it all in one thing. It ain't for them that don't hear it.
That's right.
Just like Pharaoh. Pharaoh could have atoned that day. You see what I'm saying? Pharaoh could have done just like the king in Job in the book of Job, and stopped everything and told him, hey, put everything in sackcloth and ashes, and we're gonna repent.
Jonah.
How many?
Jonah.
Yeah, in the book of Jonah. How many times did Jonah preach that message? One time. And everybody got straight.
Right.
Except for Jonah. Jonah was hot as fish grease.
Yeah.
Moses and Aaron have been to Pharaoh almost 10 times now.
Yeah.
And he ain't got it. Which goes to show you that if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not for you,
it ain't for you. It ain't. Exactly. I came to that realization a few years ago. I was like, you know what? How many of my family members, man, went through their whole entire life in mainstream religion and doing all that stuff? And I ran the street, man. I've done everything under the heaven that was wrong. And for me to hear this, I knew that, you know what? It was designed for me. It, because a lot of times our people, I heard a brother tell me this the other day, and I was telling this to Brother Joseph. A brother said, man, I've been in the church all my life looking for the Most High. And I'm not saying that he wasn't. But my point is, being when you hear this and you stay at church, you ain't looking for the Most High. Because when we read the scriptures, it was the Most High sent his son. His son is the one find you. You don't find him. That's the whole thing. I was like, wow, it just made sense.
The sheep know my voice. So if the shepherd is sitting out there screaming,
That's right.
and my wife got an uncle that lived in the country back in Giddings, and he got a pier, he got a pond on his land, and he will walk out on that pond, and he will say something loud. Then he'll ring this. He got like a bell. He'll ring the bell, and you look, and you'll see waves coming up towards the pond. I can't make this up. I'm serious. This is real talk. And on the end of the pond, he got a 55-gallon drum that he keeps, I guess it's dog food or something. And he scoops in there and he feeds those catfish. They come up. I can't make it up. And so if a fish that's in water can hear its master call, and you sitting on dry land looking at him face to face and can't hear him, it ain't for you.
Right. That's right. You don't see these sheep go and look for the shepherd. The shepherd go look for a sheep.
Thank you. These folks, man, we gonna have to. I don't even know what we can do to make this make sense to them. We just have to go and move on. You know, we just got to move on. If they don't get it, I hate to leave a person behind. You know, because the military got it in my head that you don't leave a man behind. But hell, I'm not picking up body parts. I'm gonna grab his dog tags and move out. Y'all go ahead. Let's keep going.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two sides, and on the two side posts, and on the upper door post of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs shall they eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire.
Hold on. Don't water it down. What I'm giving you, I'm gonna give it to you at full strength. Have you ever tasted the difference between a boiled chicken and a roasted chicken? The flavor of that chicken is completely different. And the fullness of the flavor when it's hit on that fire. And people ain't gonna understand what's going on. I really don't think until we get into the verses after chapter 20. Until we get into after chapter 20, I'm gonna bring us all the way back to here. So let's don't forget verse 12, man. Let's just make a mental note, because once we start reading chapter 22 and 23, and we go back to chapter 12, they're gonna be like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Because this ain't something they did just man. Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Verse 9, his head with his legs and with the purtenance thereof. And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until morning you shall burn with fire.
Mhm.
And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, with your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste, for it is Yahuwah's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment, for I am Yahuwah.
Hold on. All the gods of Egypt. Now I done embarrassed. Now this last god, Set, was the god of the dead. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna embarrass him too. He done embarrassed every one of the Egyptians' gods
Mhm.
up to this point. Now I'm gonna bring the coup de grace. And in any other ones that I left out that they pray to. Oh, whoa. In any of the other ones that I left out, I'm gonna get them at this time too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Man, my Elohim don't play, boy. Go ahead, go ahead.
Verse 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to Yahuwah throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
Hold on. This is gonna be a token. What is a token?
Marriage is like a down payment for marriage.
Yeah, but what does the token do? What does the token represent? Go
Mm,
ahead and look that word up. I want you to look that word up that they use for token.
okay,
Give
hold on.
give us a second, y'all.
What verse were we in at? What verse that was?
12 chapter, I mean chapter 12, um
Says in
um
We said
13, 12 and 13.
13.
12 and 13. Okay, hold on.
So in the Sefer it says, and it shall it says in the okay, it says it uses the word a mark.
Okay, token. Yeah, token is a month. Hebrews H 2:26. A sign, a signal, a distinctive marking, a banner, remembrance, a warning. Also, inside
This
signs, miracle proof. Huh?
so taking this Passover is a mark.
Yes.
So when he comes to execute judgment,
Mhm.
he'll pass over us.
Because you have the mark.
So the Sabbath is a mark
The mark.
that we keep it
Mhm,
so that when death comes, it will pass over us.
mhm, mhm.
The mark of the beast is
Is
anything other
That's right.
than following what marks given by Yah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So if Yah says not to work on the Sabbath and you work, that's the mark of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think if he says don't buy or sell or do no laborious task on that day and set aside for you, shalom, 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 that by taking his Passover, you have marked yourself righteous because you obeyed his laws, statutes, and commandments.
And notice, let me read verse 13 again. And the blood shall be to you for a token. So that blood, right, is representative of like when a man go into a covenant with a woman. It's the same principle. You see what I'm saying? It's a token of the token of virginity is a sign of a covenant between her and her husband.
Or we can even go back to being made in his image or in his likeness. When we talked about the blood connected covenant.
Yes.
This blood connected covenant. What was it? Salim and the moon.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Being connected by blood or being on the path of movement, connected to the blood, to the covenant. This is the covenant he was talking about. His word. Do you understand that they are following the word of him? And by following his word, they are being passed over. Man, I want to scream today. There's still hope for you.
Exactly. That's why without a shedding of blood, which we just read in Hebrews 9 and 22, without shedding of blood, there shall be no remission of your sin. Yeah.
That's why when we do this as a memorial unto him yearly, it is a representation of the covenant set in blood in Genesis. It connects you. He's taking you all the way back to the beginning to show you what connected you to him.
Yeah. He said that in Matthew. Matthew, what, 25?
Yes.
24, 25. He said that in Matthew 24, 25. Yeah.
Come on, let's get up out of here. Let's close the show.
Okay. 15. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation to you.
So now you don't went from Passover to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now I'm going to pass over you, but as a sign that I have forgiven you, now you can't take no more sin on. That's why unleavened bread is important, because it is a sign that you are not taking on any more sin for at least 7 days, because the yeast represents the sin in our lives. Go ahead.
Verse 16, no manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you shall observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever.
He brought slaves out of Egypt. Hold on. He brought slaves out of Egypt?
He brought your armies I
So
brought
this,
your armies out of the
Oh,
land of Egypt.
whoa, 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 time out. Repeat what you just said again, Yemi.
he brought slaves out of Egypt.
You
No.
know, hey, what you just said, I was just telling my wife that this morning. I was
He ain't,
just going over with you.
he
He
ain't
bought an
no slave.
army. He bought an army out of Egypt.
Ready for battle.
Yes, I'm telling you, I just went over this with Melinda this morning.
He ain't bring out no pump. He brought an army out of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
He
That's
bought
why
an
I'm sitting
army.
up here talking to these people right now, man. We are not a depressed people. We are an army.
Mm-hmm.
We don't two problems. We don't know or see ourselves as a nation or as an army. And then even with the army situation, those of us that know Yah knows that he always led his people, especially in their sojourn in out of through the desert and into the promised land. They didn't have any weapons. Their enemies had weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I, and we talk about the 337 million guns in America, and we probably don't even have what
1%, not even that.
1%.
Come on now.
But our people are. Here's is a tragedy that our people don't know Yah. We don't understand it. So-called coming out of the crossing over out of that Christian church, it becomes even more clear to me that our people don't know him. The people that should know him, they're the most spiritual, the most religious, the most we attend church at a higher percentage than any people in America or on the planet, and yet we don't know we don't know him. Uh, and we don't understand that we're an army, we're a nation, we're a holy nation. We're his army, but the battle is his. The battle is not ours. Our battle is to obey him.
That's right. That's right.
Our battle was to put that blood over the doorpost, and our battle was to be ready to move when he said move. Our battle is to, as Brother Yemi was saying earlier, our battle is to go to our oppressor and say, hey, give it up.
That's right.
We want it. It's ours. That was our battle. Our battle was to obey Yah, believe Yah, and
That's right.
rest on Yah and have confidence in him. But I absolutely love that. He calls us an army.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
When you go back and you read verse 13, chapter 12, verse 13, and the blood shall be used as a token on your houses where you are. And when
Mm-hmm.
I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague, the reordering, or the bar,
Mhm.
shall not be upon you to destroy you. See, the reordering is going to happen. It's going to affect you, but it's not going to affect you to destroy you.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
He said, upon it will not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So when he smites the Egyptians, he told us to have our eat the Passover, have our loins girded with our staff in our hand. It's the only weapons we had. He was going to fight this.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to weaken them to a point to where if they did come and get some, they could handle it.
You can handle it. Exactly.
Go ahead.
Okay, verse 18, chapter 12, verse 18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and 20th day of the month at even. 7 days there should be no leaven found in your houses. For whos, uh, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. You shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread.
Hold on. So the eating of leaven represents the introduction of sin back into your lives. And so you should not take on anything that is leavenous or with leaven into your life during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put you out of the camp. I'm
That's right.
going to cut you off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take you out of my protection.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Passover was just the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
sorrow. Now we got to get you across the Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to get you into your land. Malak Jordan left us.
Huh?
Jordan left us.
Oh, he left? Okay. You.
He didn't leave. I think he just here he comes. Okay, here we go. I'm bringing him back. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Um, yes, verse 20. Uh, let's see. Yeah, verse 20. You shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take your lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel of the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning. For Yahuwah will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahuwah will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which Yahuwah will give you, according to his promise, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahuwah's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed their head and worshiped. And the children of Israel went away and did as Yahuwah had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight Yahuwah smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel. Go, serve Yahuwah as you have said. Also take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, we be all dead men. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, and the kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And Yahuwah gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians.
Look up that word spoiled.
Okay. All right. Give me a second. That was verse 32? No, 33.
36.
36.
It's actually a 36.
30.
35. Hold on, let me get my glasses on again.
No, it's 36.
36.
Okay, I can't see. You know I'm old.
You said look up the word spoil.
Yes.
There was spoil. Spoil is not in verse 36.
You might see it as plunder.
I said no spoil. Yeah, spoil. Nasal, which is Hebrew, Nasal, which is Hebrews 53:37. To tarry one away, to deliver oneself, to take out away, to deliver, to strip of.
To do what?
To strip of. To strip of.
So they asked and they just gave it to them? No, they ransacked them folks.
Yeah.
Give me your, what we used to call it back in the day, they ran their pockets.
Yeah.
They ran their pockets. Turn it over.
It says to snatch.
That's it.
Snatch away.
They ran their pockets, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why you think Pharaoh went after them? Okay, I said you could go. Then they ran their pockets.
Yeah. Also it says plunder. Also says plunder.
Yes. We added insult to injury. We took everything that they had left of value. We ran their pockets. Break yourself, fool. We jacked them.
Mm-hmm.
See, in church, and they just handed over their stuff, and it was all roses and all good. No, we ran their pockets. All right, you owe us these wages. Stripped them of it.
Yeah.
Nassau.
But again, this is what our people have to realize. Like the Most High say, He raised up an army. You can only do that with an army mindset. And just like he took with Joshua and them, and he told them to go right when they were trying to possess the land of Canaan, and those spies went and they came back with. See, the Most High gonna do the battle, but you still have to have a soldier's mentality. You have to have a soldier's mentality. He gonna fight the battle, but if you don't have a soldier's mentality, then you're gonna come with fear. You have to believe in him. What did he say? He said, you gonna be my battle axe.
We looted them jokers.
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead, Aki.
Verse 37. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children. And a mixed multitude went also with them, and flocks and herds, and even very much cattle.
Hold on. Go back and read 37 again. Read 37 again.
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men.
About 600,000 on foot that were men. Now he ain't talked about if you read the book of Numbers and you read the beginning of the book of Exodus, he was only talking about the men 20 years and upward. He wasn't even talking about the rest of them. So they had 600,000 just men, foot soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And then think about it. Think about this. He didn't include the women that he really.
Yes. Yes.
We left out of Egypt with about roughly 3 million people.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
In total. That's a rough guesstimate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
With a standing army of how many? 600,000.
600,000.
We went and see, this is the thing that they want you to believe. This is why they did not want us to read these books, because they wanted us to see that, wanted us to believe that we were weak,
Mm-hmm.
that the Egyptians just did us a favor and gave us their stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and not realizing that when we got the book, there were going to be people that could interpret the word. How do you spell that word in the song? Natal. In Hebrew. I know it's I'm gonna do it real quick because this is important. Monica, if you're in there, can you put it up on the screen, please? Natal.
Salaka, I had my phone's battery was going down. You needed me to do something?
I need it in Hebrew.
What that?
Need,
Okay, you need and that's what verse?
That was verse 26. I mean 36.
36. What the word was again?
Spoil.
Spoil. Spoil is
Yeah.
spoil is Hebrews is nastal, which is Hebrews H 53:37.
Do they spell it out in Hebrew?
You know, my Hebrew is kind of shady right now, man. I'm still trying to break.
Hold on. I got it. Let me find it. Since we got a moment, let me find it real quick. Hey, Joseph, we're gonna have to mark this because after I finish this, I think we're gonna be over with for the day.
Okay. So we're 38 right now, 12 and 38.
Okay, here we go. Gotta put on my glasses. Hold up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm gonna go back and get it too right fast.
37. Hold on, I'm almost there.
Okay, you have the.
Okay, so it is spelled. Hold on, it's coming up now. Now it wants to work slow. Okay, so it's spelled. It's spelled noon.
Lamed.
Noon Zadi
And Lamed, yeah.
Lamed. So we know that the noon is the seed. Lamed is a plow. So you know when you plow up the land, how you have to kind of break the soil, and then the Lamed is authority or leadership. So it gives authority to what you're doing. So when you're plowing up the seed, you're plowing it up under somebody's authority. So under the authority of Yah, they just plowed up all their seeds. Everything that they had left, they took.
Mm-hmm.
Because the seed brings forth harvest, which brings forth riches.
So when you see that word natal, nasal, nasal, it means to take away that, or to plunder, or to just strip away,
Mm-hmm.
to deliver, to snatch away, to deliver oneself, to be delivered, to strip. They didn't come in there asking. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 39, and they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt, and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of Yahuwah went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto Yahuwah for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of Yahuwah to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. And Yahuwah said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, but every man's servant that is brought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to Yahuwah, let all his males be circumcised, and let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Hold
One,
on. Hold on, brother. So everybody that takes this Passover, even the stranger, has to be circumcised so that he can be inside of the camp, which means he had to take the blood, be a part of the blood covenant.
mhm.
And the taking of the foreskin was a representation that you were under the blood covenant. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, verse 49.
40, yeah.
49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. Thus did all the children of Israel, as Yahuwah commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that Yahuwah did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies.
Okay. Once again, as I get ready to close, we were not slaves. We left out as an army, a fighting force.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get this mentality. If Yah said that we were an army, we're an army.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't no slaves. We are zealots, to be honest with you. We are warrior priests, a nation of priests and warriors. And there is no greater warrior priest than Hamashiach. Hamashiach passed over and killed up all the firstborn. Do you understand the significance of this chapter, of these two chapters, 11 and 12? This will be a mark unto you and your household by keeping y'all's Passover,
Mm-hmm.
by being obedient and listening. That's why when people take the Passover during when there ain't no moon out, when there ain't no full moon, I be tripping because I'm like, he gave you the time period. You know, the first is the new moon, the crescent. So all you got to do from that point, once you see the first crescent, count the days until the moon is full.
Mm-hmm.
This is a traveling feast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got to start teaching our people correctly, those who are in this truth, those who want to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, those who are on the outside and looking in at us. They are looking for a representation so that they'll have something to look at. Now I'm telling you this because we have to show ourselves worthy, but to we have to show ourselves worthy in one sense that we are working out our salvation. Doesn't make us perfect. And this is something that people got to understand. I teach this, I got flaws. Hell, I got a burden like Paul that I have prayed to the Most High 3 times. And he said, my grace is sufficient enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
And every man that is sitting on this panel got one of them Saul elements that we don't went back to the Most High and prayed over, and he's like, hold it. You need to keep this in you so you can realize who I am, and you won't think you doing this on your own power.
Mm-hmm.
It's a battle.
God. Mm-hmm.
You know, David was a whore and a murderer, but he was a man after Yah's own heart.
Mm-hmm.
Moses, a drunk. Not Moses, but Noah, a drunk. Moses, a murderer. Hell,
Mm-hmm.
even Solomon was disobedient.
Mm-hmm.
People got this focus. See, this is what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody you know personally, you judge them on everything. But
Mm-hmm.
somebody that they see on TV that they don't know, they love them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that we all have flaws. The benefit of not knowing the Joker on TV is that you don't have to make a judgment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But treat the Joker that you don't, the Joker that you can touch, the same way the Joker you can't touch. I used to go to the Potter's house all the time. You want me to tell you how many times I shook TD Jakes' hand when I was in the Potter's house? Jakes finished preaching, and Jakes was off the stage, off the side of the stage. There wasn't a handful of people that were able to meet and greet him. Moshe was meeting and greeting all the people.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
They knew
You know,
Moshe had killed that man. They knew Moshe had buried that joker in the sand. Hell,
Yeah.
they pointed out his flaw. What, you gonna kill me next?
yes.
Y'all stop. Y'all stop it. Man, ain't you that joker that just finished killing the Egyptian and buried him in the sand? What, you gonna kill me next, Negro? Dude, people got to get their heads straight, man. Even though the messenger has flaws, you ought to see the power of the Most High working.
Mm-hmm.
If
But
that's
that's
what you need to look at.
exactly. That's the whole message.
When you
That is
don't
the
see the
whole.
power of the Most High moving, then you move around.
The Most High's word is perfect, but man in his flesh is not. The Most High's word is perfect, but man in his flesh not.
Yeah.
That's why we need an advocate. That's what. See, people are focused on the messenger instead of the message. They focus on you instead of the word, and that's the whole problem. You know, the book has a human qualities. All our forefathers had imperfections. They had something wrong with them, but that don't mean that y'all just got rid of them. Y'all use every one of the men and even the mothers, or the matriarchs in the Bible, they had flaws, but the Most High used them. But nowadays, everybody want to walk around with this mindset, and instead of looking at and seeing the Most High's work, they want to look at you. Don't look at me. Look at the work that He's done in me.
Think about this, man. Think about this. If we really break it down the way we need to break it down, if we're Judah, who's our mother? Tamar.
That's right. That's right.
Tamar had to trick Judah because Judah lost all his sons. And the only son that he had left was too young. And then when he came of age, he was like, I ain't giving him to Tamar. Hell, every time I give her a kid, he die.
Yeah.
So then she had to trick him.
That's right. Don't that sound familiar?
And the scripture clearly tells you that's a sin. That sin right there is punishable by death.
Yeah. But what did he say? He said that she was more righteous than him.
Thank you.
Because at least she owned up to it. See, when a man come up to you and tell you about his shortcomings, that takes a lot. That means he's exalting the Most High. He's telling you what his iniquities are. You know what I'm saying? There's some joker want to walk around here like he's so perfect, and you know they ain't keeping the feast days. They homongering. You know what I'm saying? Or they stealing. They lying off top because they ain't the priest.
hey, Joe, look, let's just put it out there. Judah bought him a piece.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there. Judah went on a mission to buy him a piece.
That's right.
This is what people don't see. Judah bought him some. Judah had a wife at home.
Repeat that again. See, but the book showed us the book tells us that our forefathers they made mistakes. Again, this is why there should not be no whores of the daughters of Zion, because again, prostitution was illegal in Zion. They were looking to put her to death. He had a wife at home. He still went and got him some.
Paid for it. Left his staff, his ring, and then promised her a goat. Baby, if you give me some, you can have this sheep.
Yeah.
No, no. Just leave me your ring and your staff.
The problem is our people don't want to look at the flaws. Our people too busy judging our forefathers, but our forefathers were greater than us.
Okay.
We have to look at the flaws of the forefathers and look at ourselves and then make better choices. That's what the whole book is about. The book is about us making better choices. We're gonna make mistakes.
Man, I'm so tickled behind that one right there. We should have did a lesson on that. That joker went out on a mission. He went to go buy him a little bit. I wonder if Judah woke up that morning and was like, looked over and was like, nah, I'm gonna get me some strange today. He went and negotiated too. They told him we negotiated. I got this sheet. I gotta go that out. You get it after we done. It ain't on me. I'm gonna send somebody to find you and bring it.
Yeah, man.
Boy, Tamar came up pregnant. They were
Yeah,
about to kill Tamar. The heat was on him.
yeah.
Just like just like a daughter of Zion, she kept the evidence.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Boy,
That's right.
Judah came around that corner, was about to put that knife on him.
Yeah,
You can't kill me.
exactly.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
You more righteous than me.
That's right. That's
You
right,
done
man.
kept the evidence.
That's right.
Not only are you carrying the evidence that I slept with you, but dang, you got my ring and my staff.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You got my allotment and my staff.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, let me quit. Let's go ahead and close, man. Our Father, we thank you. We thank you for another day. We thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for your law, statutes, and commandments. God, we thank you for the word that was made flesh, dwelt amongst us, took our iniquities, and became our Passover. God, we thank you for your righteous judgments. We thank you for passing over us this week and allowing us to have another Shabbat. Abba, Father, we ask that you would stay with us. Bless those in our congregation, those who are here this day. Bless them who are sick amongst us. Bring forth healing in their bodies and in their minds. Y'all touch them in a mighty way that they may see your powers activated in their lives, that they may be able to scream out and tell people that you are still healing this day.
Yeah.
God, we ask right now in your name that you would touch the congregation of Israel worldwide and that you would prepare their minds, hearts, and souls for your return. And on your return, that we would stand upright before you, that we will be able to be judged righteously for once. Y'all, we thank you for all that you've done, all that you are doing, all that you will do. And in the name of your son, Yahamashiach, we thank you once again and we pray. Hallelujah.
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 Well,
All right.
that has been another Shabbat service. Any of you brothers got anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
Lord, just have a beautiful day. Shabbat shalom.
Great lesson. Great lesson, Yemi.
All praises to the Most High. Thank you.
Yes. Good. Good lesson. Good lesson.
Hey, when
Good.
we go into chapter 13, hey, yourself, remind me that we on chapter 13 next week. You know I'm old.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I don't think we made it all the way. Hold on. Let me get back.
No, we got we no, we right there 13.
We're in 43. We're at 12 and 43.
12 and
Go ahead.
43. I thought you read no.
You read that.
Wait a minute.
You
Wait
read,
a minute. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
you read 51,
Never
huh?
mind. Hey,
49.
you
49.
remind me because you're old too.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you read 51.
Sorry. 50.
All his
We're
arms
50.
about.
We're 50. 12 and 50.
No, we're not. You read it all.
You read 51, huh?
See, I'm okay.
Hey,
Okay,
Malak,
13.
you
13.
remind us where we at next week.
Okay,
Uh,
If I deal with Joseph, we're gonna be back on chapter 9 again.
Chapter 13.
13, chapter 13.
My
Oh,
brothers.
yeah.
Man, it was good to see y'all. It was good to worship with y'all again today. I appreciate you. I want to tell y'all, give you your flowers while you're here. I thank y'all, man, for your love, your kindness towards me and my family, and all that you do. If anybody wants to donate to this ministry, it will be posted in the chat. I guess my lovely wife has already posted it. Just go and anything is welcome. I'm not begging. I'm just giving you an opportunity if you want to sow seed here. Also, y'all keep Sister Monica in your prayers and Brother Gabrielle in your prayers. I thank y'all for showing up. Keep Brother Steve and Sister Ann also in your prayers. I talked to him this week. He called me this week, and he sounded up in spirits. And I love that old dude, even with his mustard and paprika chicken.
I was just about to say, yeah, because I'm the other day too.
I still can't get over that foolishness, bro.
Hey, Brother Steve, when you see this video, I roll my chicken here.
Man, it actually was good.
It was good, man. It was good, man. It was good. It was good.
Remember me, you, and Monica was talking about that mess that night?
Yeah.
Mustard and no paprika on it. None of that match.
Yeah.
Boy, when I got a hold of that chicken, I'm like, ooh wee, that's good.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good, man. Mustard and paprika. That's right.
Mustard and paprika chicken. Matter of fact, I'm gonna marinate some chicken in that and fry it and see what it tastes like.
That's right.
Well, Akeem has been a great Shabbat. I thank y'all once again for joining the Ark. If y'all can, don't forget that the Ark Fresno will be on today. Y'all go see Yosh and sit back and get a message. He's in Exodus as well.
Yes.
Clowning. So y'all make sure y'all go over and pay that brother some give that brother some love as well, because powerful messages coming out of Exodus from both of us. So, and from the Most High, Monica up there talking about mustard chicken. Y'all, it's all over the internet now. You ain't lying. It's all over the internet. Y'all, just stay in prayer, and once again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm ending it. At least I think I am. There we go. Shabbat Shalom.